The girl with fire in her eyes. The prison was cold, not the kind of cold that touched your skin, but the kind that sank into your bones. It was the deepest level of this Aerith Empire's warship, and no one came here unless they were forgotten. Or dangerous. She was both. A small alien girl barely 17 cycles old sat on the metal floor. Her wrists were locked in chains. Her skin was pale blue, bruised in places, and her eyes were not normal. They burned, not with heat, but with something else. Defiance. Captain Reese called her. A human officer of the Empire stood outside. Her cell. He had seen war. He had broken rebels. He had burned cities. But he had never seen eyes like hers. She did not cry. She did not beg. She did not speak. And that silence. It disturbed him. Open the door, Reese ordered. The guards looked at each other. Sir, she hasn't moved in 2 days? I said open it. The cell door hissed open. Reese stepped inside. The girl did not lift her head. She only stared. At the floor, unmoving, but her eyes. They followed him. He knelt down. What's your name? He asked. Silence. You were part of the Vayari resistance. You saw your people fall. You were captured, beaten, and now you're here. Still no answer. You were meant to break, he said softly. And finally, she looked up. It was slow like a rising storm. And when her eyes met his, Reese felt something he had not felt in years. That guilt. There was no hate in her eyes. No fear. Only fire. She leaned closer, just slightly, and whispered, her voice dry like sand. I am not broken. Reese stood quickly. For a moment, the silence was louder than any scream. Behind him, one of the guards chuckled. She'll talk eventually. They all do. Reese turned around. No, she won't. He left the cell, but her voice stayed in his mind like an echo that refused to fade. That night, Reese couldn't sleep. The warship floated in deep space, but inside his mind, the girl's eyes burned like stars. He tried to remember her file. Subject 71V. Female. Vayari species. Captured during Raid Z09. No known family alive. Resistance member. Dangerous? Dangerous? She weighed less than 40 kilos. She had no weapons. No army, but her silence was more dangerous than any blaster. The next day, Commander Talvek, a tall insectoid alien, called for a public display. The prisoners must be shown their place, he said. Fear keeps them obedient, he pointed to the girl. Break her. The whole prison wing was forced to watch. Soldiers stood in a circle. The girl was brought into the center. Her feet were bare, her arms chained. Tall V. EK raised his voice. This is what happens to Defiance. He struck her. Once. Twice. She fell to her knees. Reese turned his face away. But then she rose. Slowly. Bleeding. Shaking. But standing. Her eyes stared straight at Talvik. Not with hate. Not with revenge. Just a message. I will not break. Even the guards took a step back. Talvik growled. You dare look at me like that? You're? Nothing. But no matter what he said, the crowd wasn't looking at him anymore. They were looking at her. Reese whispered to himself. What are you? And for the first time in years, he felt fear not of her power, but of what she could become. Symbol. A spark. A flame in a place built for shadows. That night, someone slipped her a piece of bread. No one saw who did it. Maybe a prisoner. Maybe a soldier. Maybe Reese. But when she took the bread, she didn't eat it. She broke it in half and gave the other half to a starving child beside her. Even in chains. Even with bruises. Even in silence, she had power. And it was growing. The guards brought her to the center of the alien war camp. Cold metal cuffs dug into her wrists, but she didn't flinch. The tall, gray-skinned commander watched her with a slow, cruel smile. "You're human," he said with disgust. "Your planet is gone. Your people lost. You belong to us now." She looked at him, her eyes steady. That same fire still burned unshaken, alive. The aliens expected fear. What they got instead was silence. Strong, defiant silence. A crowd of alien soldiers gathered, curious. She was the last human they had captured. Rumors whispered through the stars Earth was silent now. No response, no resistance. But this girl? This one didn't match the story. They called her the Fragile. One when she arrived beaten, weak, alone. But now, standing in the middle of the enemy's camp, there was nothing fragile about her. A younger alien soldier leaned toward his commander. "Should I make her kneel?" The commander nodded. "Break her." The young soldier stepped forward and barked, "On your knees." She stared at him, calm. Her lips didn't move. Her knees didn't bend. The soldier raised his baton, but before it touched her, she tilted her head slightly and whispered, "Do it." That single whisper made him pause. Her voice wasn't begging. It was daring. He hesitated, and the others saw it. Something shifted in the air. The commander's smile dropped. "Strike her." The commander roared, but the soldier's hand wouldn't move. His eyes locked with hers, and he saw something. Something terrifying. Not fear. Not pain. Just a quiet promise of what would come next. The commander walked up himself. Taller than all. Armor etched with gold. He grabbed her chin and forced her to look up. "Tell me what gives you such courage." She smiled, not wide, not mocking, just calm. Controlled. "I'm not the only one left," she said. "I'm just the warning." Silence spread like a virus through the ranks. A warning? The commander pushed her back and ordered her locked in a holding cell. "We'll deal with her after the summit," he muttered. But deep down, fear was crawling through him now. That night, as she sat in her cell, she touched the small scar behind her ear, a hidden implant no one had detected. She whispered just one word into the darkness, "Ready." And miles above, in the black of space, a human ship awoke. A stealth model, silent, waiting, listening, its engines lit with blue flame, and its weapon systems turned toward the alien war camp. The guards thought she was asleep. They didn't know about the implant behind her ear. They didn't know her whisper had traveled light years in seconds, and they didn't know the sky was listening. Above the alien war camp, the clouds shifted. Stars disappeared, blotted out by something huge, something silent, something built by human hands. It hovered in orbit, invisible to alien sensors. A stealth-class warship with one goal: recover the girl. Inside the cell, she opened her eyes. A soft pulse lit up behind her ear blue, blinking. That meant one thing. They were here. She stood, calm as ever, and walked to the center of her cell. The stone floor was cracked from years of prisoners scratching at it, begging for escape. But she knelt down, not to beg, but to place her hand on the center tile. It lit up. The guards outside the cell didn't notice at first. They were playing cards, joking about the stubborn little human. Then came the vibration. At first, it was subtle, a soft hum in the bones. Then the walls began to tremble. Light fixtures flickered. One guard looked up. "Is that?" Before he finished, a deafening boom cracked the sky open. Something was descending, something fast and angry. The ship dropped from orbit like a ghost made of flame. Its shape was sleek, black, and sharp, like it had been carved from vengeance itself. Panic spread across the alien camp. Anti-air systems locked on, but too late. The ship fired first. Beams of plasma split through the night. Watchtowers crumbled. Shields collapsed. A wall exploded. Inside her cell, the girl stood tall as dust rained from the ceiling. Her lips curved slightly. "They came," she whispered. The door burst open not from the outside, but from inside the walls. A hidden pod slid out, and a drone floated in. "Asset located," the drone said. "Extraction protocol active." She stepped onto the pod without hesitation. It sealed around her, and in seconds, shot straight through the roof-dodging plasma bolts and rising like a spear through smoke. The alien commander watched from the command tower, his jaw clenched. "Was a signal?" he muttered. His assistant was pale. "Should we retreat?" The commander shook his head slowly. "It's too late for that. She wasn't just a message. She was the fuse." Up above, the girl stood on the deck of the human ship, now helmet off, face calm. Around her, crew. Members nodded with respect. Some saluted. "You did well, Ember," said the captain. "The fire's lit." She looked at the screen below. The alien base burned. "No," she said softly. "That was just the spark." The alien broadcast reached every corner of the known galaxy. Human technology recovered. Human girl escaped. Earth may still exist. The council chambers filled with cold silence. For over 100 years, the galaxy believed Earth was destroyed nothing but ash floating in deep space. Humanity was written out of the records, their systems erased, their colonies wiped clean. But now, one girl had lit the flame again. Her name spread fast. The girl with fire in her eyes. The one who stood tall in chains. The signal Earth had. Returned. Some empires called it propaganda. Others began moving fleets. But far from the noise of politics, Ember stood in front of the Human War Council, alive, armored, and quiet. "We found your distress beacon embedded in her DNA," the commander sighed. "Why didn't you send it sooner?" She looked at them without blinking. "Because Earth wasn't ready to be found." The room shifted. Generals exchanged glances. Even veterans, those who survived a final silence, looked uneasy. "You were?" "Bait," said the captain softly. "No," Ember replied. "I was proof." She stepped forward and tapped a display. It showed systems once human colonies, now under alien control. But each one pulsed red. "Their chains are weak," she said. "Their eyes are blind. They think we're myths." Her eyes burned like twin suns. "But we remember everything." A young soldier raised his voice. "Are we really going to war?" "For one girl?" She turned to him. "No," she said. "You're going to war for all the humans they erased. For the children they called mistakes. For the Earth they tried to bury." Then she lifted her arm. Behind her, a wall slid open, revealing Earth's most secret weapon. A new fleet, silent, cloaked, alive. Each ship named after cities that no longer existed. Each crew carrying the memory of a lost planet. And at the center of it all, Ember stood. No longer just a signal. Now she was the voice of Earth's return. The enemy never expected the attack. The Cernic Dominion had ruled the planet Virix 9 for 70 years. It was cold, mechanical, filled with factories, and guarded by orbiting turrets. Human slaves once worked there, until they were replaced by machines, and discarded like trash. They thought no one remembered, but they were wrong. At 0300 standard time, Ember's fleet came out of cloak. No warning, no words, just justice. She stood on the bridge of the HSS Revenant, staring at the blue planet below. Her eyes didn't blink. Her voice was calm. "Drop the hammer." One command, and a beam of energy ripped through the clouds. Not a weapon of mass destruction. Not a terror bomb. A pulse. A signal. It shut down every machine the Dominion trusted. Every turret. Every drone. Every defense system. They never prepared for old human code encrypted in her own blood. as Varex 9 went dark. The ground shook. The humans hidden in its slums looked up. Ships appeared, steel black, silent as shadows. And from those ships came soldiers, real humans dressed in armor with burning red visors. They said nothing. They just walked and freed the prisoners. On the Dominion's homeworld, a general screamed into his comms. How? How is this possible? Earth is dead. A voice responded. Not a signal. Not a broadcast. A whisper. You should have buried us. Deeper. Back on Varex 9, Ember walked alone through the city ruins. The people stared at her. Some whispered, some cried. One old woman dropped to her knees and whispered, Are you Earthborn? Ember looked down, gently helped her up. I'm just the first flame. Above them, the human flag long thought forgotten rose once again. Black cloth, one red star, and a single phrase beneath. We remember. They brought him in chains. The Cernak High Commander Vral Mek once called the Flame Extinguisher. He had ordered the bombing of Earth's final cities. He called it a mercy. Now, he knelt before the very last survivor of Earth's fireborn. Ember. She stood above him, silent. No armor, no weapon. Just her stare. Those burning eyes. Vral laughed, even with a bruised face. You think this makes you powerful? You're still just a girl born from ash. She didn't blink. You burned my people, and thought fire would. Forget. Behind her, 1,000 freed humans watched. The galaxy's media drones floated quietly, broadcasting live across 1,000 systems. This was not revenge. This was memory. Ember walked slowly around him. You erased Earth's name. From the maps, she said. You banned our books. You hunted survivors. She stopped in front of him. You taught us silence. A pause, but I learned how to make silence burn. Suddenly, she raised her arm. A small device projected Earth's final moments in the sky above them. Raw, uncensored footage. Cities falling. Children crying. The last signal from Earth's surface. Tell them. We died awake. The crowd was silent. Even Vral's breath caught. For the first time, he looked unsure. Ember leaned closer. You didn't just kill a planet. You created something new. She pressed a finger to his chest. You created me. Vral hissed. Then do it. Kill me. Finish your little legend. She stared at him, eyes glowing. No. She turned away. You don't deserve to disappear. You deserve to watch as Earth's flame spreads. As every world you conquered now remembers who we were. And what we can be. As she walked away, her final words echoed. You broke our world. But you woke our fire. The screen behind her lit up. A new banner. A new alliance. A simple name. The Phoenix Accord, led by survivors, protected by flame, and sworn to never kneel again. In the stars above. A message went out. To every species, every corner of space. Humanity was never extinct, just sleeping, and now she's awake. End of series.